and today we're going to look back on another sparkling Premier League weekend. Lots of great performances, lots of controversy as well around VAR, VAR, video assistant referees, and it's not working out very well. I'm joined by John Giles and Liam Brady, who saw the games. Liam, I'd just like to start with you. Arsenal drew 2-2 at home with Crystal Palace. They scored a third goal. It went to VAR. There was also a bit of controversy with Xhaka, who's been named the club captain in recent weeks. He was taken off. The crowd booed him, and he gave them some kind of signal to say, go away. It sounds like an interesting afternoon.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a football match, to be honest, Eamon. It was lacking on quality, but there was plenty of incidents and plenty of talking points, as you mentioned. Arsenal got off to a great start, scored 2 goals from 2 corners early on in the game, and it looked as if they were going to go on and win comfortably.
Yeah.
But as happened in the past, they got a bit sloppy. They gave Palace too much room. Saha for Palace and AU up front, they were always dangerous. And Saha got a penalty, a very clear penalty. Didn't understand why the referee didn't give it in the first place. He actually signalled a free kick out and gave Saha a yellow card, which was, overturned by VAR. And it was an incident where the VAR actually came to the referee's rescue. It was a good decision to give the penalty, and Palace were back in the game. And then Arsenal in the second half got even sloppier. 2 usual suspects, Xhaka and David Luiz, for the second goal. He doesn't do nearly enough to stop the cross from going in, and Luiz loses IU in the area, not marking him at all, and it's an easy header. It's 2-2. Arsenal pushed and ended up getting another goal from a corner kick, and this time VAR, I think, got it absolutely wrong. It was a tangle of bodies at the far post, and the ball broke to Socrates, who smashed it in. It should have been allowed because it was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. And I'm not just saying that because Arsenal's my team. It really was a case where VAR didn't come to the right conclusion. And there's been 2 or 3 of those over the weekend. In contrast, Eamon, to what I watched on Saturday morning, the England-New Zealand rugby match.
Yes.
Everybody understands, everybody gets information of what the referee wants looked at, what the TMO is looking at. You hear the conversations between the referee and the TMO. With football, the fans just don't know what's going on, and this has got to be addressed. It's not right, and it's actually ruining the football as we knew it. So it's a lot to talk about. But Arsenal probably got their just rewards for another sloppy performance, and Palace are a decent team and won't have any problem staying up and around halfway this season. That would be my conclusion from the game.
Yeah, and John, the VAR, there was another incident I saw. Ryan Bertrand, Southampton, sent off in the 13th minute of their home game that they lost 9-0 to Leicester, a new Premier League record, and we can talk about the football in a moment. He was sent off for a challenge that was clumsy, but not in my view malicious. But we were led to believe that the whole point of VAR was that if the referee made a clear and obvious mistake, VAR could be brought in then to correct it. But it's being used now in the wrong way. And also the interpretation the official in Stockley Park is making, that's somewhere in London where the decision appears to be made, it's interpretation, and it's very often wrong. There's been several instances this weekend.
Yeah, it's not perfect, Damon, by any means, but as Liam said there in that match, there was a couple of decisions that were right. as well. I mean, we are concentrating on the ones that are wrong, and we're entitled to and obliged to do that. But I don't think there's anything there that they can't put right. You know, like if they should show us on the screen, like the rugby. Why not? Why just have to copy the rugby situation and do what the rugby people are doing?
It would, given all the wealth that's in the Premier League and around it, it's no problem. It shouldn't be a problem to fit every stadium with a screen, as they have in rugby. And Liam's quite right to refer to the Rugby Union World Cup. And while the conversation is going on, the fans are fully informed of what the issues are. The players are fully informed, and everyone is better off.
It's only what I'm saying, Eamon. I think that will come. You know, it's not rocket science. They're not doing it well at the moment. They're getting a lot of things right. They're getting a lot of things wrong. But the things that we're complaining about most can be put right quite easily, in my opinion. Once they make up their mind, this is what we need to do, then they can do it.
Yeah,
that's not right. Just copy the rugby. That's all they have to do. And I think most people would be satisfied, and it would be explained, every decision explained as it should be. That's my take on it. But again, they're doing a lot of things right as well. A lot of decisions over the weekend were right. I mean, there's a lot of concentration on what's going wrong, and I think that's right as well to do that. But I don't think there's anything there that can't be put right.
Okay, I would say, Liam, I don't know if you saw the game. Aaron Connolly, the young Irish lad who's doing really well at Brighton, he was fouled and they got a penalty. They were playing Everton. They badly needed the penalty. It wasn't a clear and obvious mistake by the referee. In fact, it was something you'd no chance of seeing if VAR hadn't existed. The question is, should VAR have been involved? Because there was nothing clear and obvious about it.
No, I think that was another one they got wrong over the weekend.
Yeah.
It was Keane, the centre-back. He just bumped into him, didn't he? And his foot
he stood on his foot.
You know, that was completely accidental. And this is where it's getting it wrong. It's an exaggeration of their powers. You know, they should leave that alone when it's not. It's not obvious and it's not clear cut. That's why the Arsenal goal should have been allowed. That's why the goal that Brighton got from the penalty shouldn't have been a penalty. And but it's human error. It's not actually the error of the film. It's these guys who are making the judgment, and you don't know who they are. I don't know who they are. In the rugby, the commentator was saying, this is down to what Marius Jonker, former referee, thinks. And he explained it to the referee why he thinks the referee needed to change his decision, and everyone understands. As you say, the players accept it, but the way it's going in the football, it's actually damaging the fabric of the game, and they need to improve it to get it right.
Yeah, I think it is. John, let's go to Leicester and Southampton. It's a spectacular result for Brendan Rodgers and his team. 9-0. It breaks the Premier League record for away victories. And despite the fact that Southampton had Ryan Bertrand sent off after 30 minutes, it didn't make a 9-goal difference. I thought Leicester were absolutely brilliant, and the pitch wasn't particularly helpful. There's a lot of water on it, but the tempo and the quality of their play was stunning. Yeah,
they were very, very good, Eamon. But you'd have to say Southampton were dreadful. As well. I mean, that's nothing to do with Leicester. They have to do what they have to do, and they did it extremely well. They got a few goals up, as we saw, but kept at it, and after quite rightly to do so. So, you could tell that the Brendan Rodgers influence is there, that regardless of the score, keep going, keep doing the right things. And they did extremely well. They've got some good players, Eamon, as we know. Vardy is back on form. He's playing better now than he did 4 or 5 years ago. And I think that's down to Brendan Rodgers. Whatever way he's handled him in relation to the previous manager. I think he's 31, 32 now. And he's playing better than ever. And you can tell that he's a lad who has the confidence of the manager. You could tell when the other guy was there that it happens with lads. You should be doing this, maybe you should be doing that. Where Brendan Rodgers, I think, has been good at that, handling players generally. You never see him in the paper having a go at the players. You never see him on the touchline having a go at somebody. I'm sure he does in the privacy of the dressing room, which is the way to do it. So he makes the players feel good, and he's getting his reward on the pitch. I thought it was an outstanding performance, despite the fact that Southampton did lose a man, and they weren't doing very well anyway, Eamon. But Leicester were very, very good.
Liam, Vardy's a fantastic player, isn't he? He's a great finisher, and he works like a dog.
Yeah, he's one of those. He's one of those centre forwards that you love to have in your team, because he pressurises defenders when they've got the ball. Like I was watching a player yesterday, Ben Teke, play for Crystal Palace. He just doesn't move out of a 10-yard radius, you know. Whereas Vardy's chasing things down. He chases the goalkeeper down. He's had numerous results from pressurising players where he's robbed them of the ball, and he is a top class finisher. He's fast, really, really good all round player. And as John said, Brendan Rodgers is getting the best out of him, as he is with all the team. I think what Rodgers has, from what I read about, is his training is very enjoyable. The players are looking forward to going into training, and you can get some managers who you just knew you're going to be bored out of your mind going into training. And I think that has an effect on the morale of the team. And I think Rodgers has got that right. Everywhere he's gone, I think he's got it right. So. And he plays good football, and I think it's only a matter of time. I know Leicester fans won't like to hear this, but the way he's going, it's one of the top clubs. One of the clubs that have ambitions to maybe win the Champions League, or he must be in the frame for one of those jobs. Yeah,
and I should say also he's bought well. Maddison is a very, very good player. He bought Perez from Newcastle, who sold him cheaply. Now, in a bad team, Perez was outstanding last year. He scored a hat-trick as well. He's a very, very good player. It's soul-destroying for Newcastle fans and, for Steve Bruce to lose a player like that. But when he slots them into the team, they also bought a guy from Belgium, Tielemans, who's a very, very,
he's a good midfield
very,
player.
very good midfield player. So they're
good
young,
goal scorer as well. Yeah.
Yep, they're a young, hungry team, John, that you could see really being top 4 team for quite some time. There's another player, Sayanchu. But he's a central defender.
Yeah.
He's a very good player.
Yeah, he is. He's quick. He's well balanced. He's not unlike Harry Maguire. In his play, he covers the ground well. He's composed on the ball. So, if he continues to play as he has played, it's a great bit of business for Leicester. Because they have the money in for Maguire if they want to go and get somebody else in another position. Yeah. But he's fitted in really well.
He's a very good player indeed, and that's a big part of the job now, Liam, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, he did well at Liverpool. The players he brought in. Coutinho was one of his buys.
So was, I think, Sterling was as well. Raheem Sterling.
Yes, yeah. Well, they bought him when he was a 16-year-old, so I don't think Brendan would have had much to do with that one. But he's proved himself as well in the transfer market, and good judge. And Leicester are definitely contenders for a top 4 position. There's no doubt about that. With the troubles that Arsenal have got, with the troubles that Spurs have got, the troubles that Man United have got. Although Man United got back to winning an away match yesterday, they're going to be in the race for that top 4 position. There's no doubt about it.
And that's a hell of an achievement. Okay, Liam mentioned Spurs there. John, Liverpool Spurs yesterday. A dream start, goal after 47 seconds, which Harry Kane was a brilliant. He did well to take the chance that was offered to him. But then, they were 1-0 up after 47 seconds. I rang you as looking for some hope. After 15 minutes of the game, you said, "Don't worry, Liverpool have beat them. They've packed it in." You saw it, and you could see that despite the fact that they went a goal ahead, they hadn't won a match away from home since January, and why that has happened was very obvious yesterday.
Yeah, well, they're not there, Eamon. The things are not right at the club, and The great thing about football and most sports, Eamon, that if things are not right, it manifests itself on the pitch.
Yep.
Somewhere along the line, you're not going to get away with it. It's difficult to win trophies when everything is right, as Liverpool are doing at the moment, and Manchester United did in their day, and Manchester City. Spurs are a shambles.
Yeah.
They had. We were joking about it before this programme. It took Pochettino out for dinner.
They did, yeah. Took him to a sushi restaurant in Mayfair.
Yeah,
to show them that they loved him.
Yeah, well, managers don't want to be loved. They want to be respected. And we had a laugh before the programme as well. Could you imagine Fergie, after losing a few matches, going out for dinner with the players? Right.
I put that one over to Liam. Liam, can you imagine the lads asking Fergie if he'd like to go out to Mayfair for a sushi dinner?
No. I think Ferguson would let them know in no uncertain terms that the fault lies what's happening on the park. No, I didn't see the game yesterday. I only saw the highlights of it. But I saw Ericsson started. What was he like?
He didn't try a leg, Liam. And Dele Alli.
We had this discussion on RTE there last Tuesday. He wasn't in the team. He'd been left out completely. And I thought Pochettino's bombed him. I know Red Star Belgrade weren't up to much, but Spurs were really good on the day,
Yes.
And it's quite obvious to me Ericsson's got the hump. He's not happy, and did Dele Alli play?
He didn't touch it, but the ball in 90 minutes, he was desperately.
Well, he's another one. Yeah. He's another one that they have to sort out. Yeah. It's a bit like Arsenal. Arsenal have 2 or 3 non-triers that the manager keeps picking.
Yeah,
and it affects the others. It really does. And going back to going out to dinner with the manager. No, Alex Ferguson. I couldn't imagine it in a million years.
How about Arsene Wenger?
No. As John said, they don't want to be loved. They want to be respected. And,
you're quite close to the North London thing, Liam, with Arsenal and Spurs. They have this amazing new stadium. This is a kind of journey Arsenal took in their own way as well. This cost $1 billion to build it or more. There's a very strong managing director there, Daniel Levy, and of course everyone respects Pochettino in the game, or seems to. He's kind of trapped there. What do you think he must be feeling as one of the highest rated coaches in Europe?
Yeah, he'll be frustrated. I would say it's a feeling of frustration. There's a lot of elements coming together here that's causing the problem at Spurs. Probably 2 or 3 players coming out of contract.
Yes.
The uncertainty surrounds that, whether they're going to try when they're actually playing. And I think Ericsson, there is a big question mark about him. So I think that's something that they have to contend with for this season. But the club is in a very healthy position. It's got a brilliant new stadium. They've got an awful lot of good players in their squad. I think maybe the situation that 2 or 3 players are in, important players like Vertonghen, Alderweireld,
yes,
and Ericsson, is wrecking, for the time being, what the plan is for the future.
Yeah.
And maybe this is just a season where there's going to be a blip. It could be that they get the show back on the road, before the end of the season, and they get into Europe again. And really, that's all Spurs can hope for this season, I think, is to get into Europe, because challenging for the title's gone already.
Yeah, John, they're 11th in the Premier League now, and I know that you rate Pochettino, but you also see and have seen the non-triers, Ericsson, in a spectacular way. Dele Alli also not having a go. And some of them not good enough. Aurier, the fullback.
Well, yeah, but it hasn't happened now, Eamon. You have to go back 2 or 3 years to see what's happened to Spurs. And I think the situation between the manager, Pochettino, and Levy, the head man there, is not right. He's made it clear time after time, Pochettino, that he's not getting what he wants And in fact, they do have 2 other guys there who were involved in the transfer system. And he did say at the start of the season, I'm going to be the coach here. I'm not the manager anymore. That's telling us that he's not in charge of who comes and who goes.
You think he should have left in the summer?
Yes.
After the Champions
I do,
to the Champions League
because
final.
I think he's in a no-win situation,
Yeah.
Eamon. The fact that Alderweireld and Vertonghen and Eriksen, that hasn't happened just now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're making a protest now because the wages over the years haven't been great, and they've been allowed, not through Pochettino's fault, for the contracts to run out at the end of the season. Now, we've spoken about before, if you've got players like Eriksen, Dele Alli's a different. I think he's problems.
Vertonghen and Alderweireld,
and maybe Rose. There's been about 4 or 5 others in the situation where you're coming into to training every day, and there's 4 or 5 guys, maybe 6 guys who want to go.
Yeah.
Now, you've played football, I've played football, and when I was playing was, we wanted to believe at Leeds, for example, we're going to be there forever, and we're all pulling in the same direction.
Yeah.
And it's hard enough to win trophies when you're doing that. That's a well-run club.
Yeah.
Spurs is not a well-run club, despite the fact that I think Pochettino, given the right conditions, would be a terrific manager.
Right.
That isn't the case. They're sitting in the dressing room, they're coming into training in the morning. You come in the morning, you see Eriksen, you know he wants to go. Vertonghen wants to go. Alderweireld wants to go at the end of the season. Maybe Wanyama, a few, maybe 7 or 8 at Spurs. I mean, you can't be successful doing that. And I think Pochettino, at the start of the season, knew the situation, because he did say, I don't want to be the manager anymore.
Yeah.
I think at that time, he's banging his head against a stone wall. He should have left.
Yeah, Liam, it's a fascinating aspect of the modern game, isn't it? When Eriksen walks and Vertonghen and Alderweireld, they make an absolute fortune. I mean, that's how Sanchez got the money from Manchester United when he walked from Arsenal. And that was the fear with Ozil when I think it was Arsene Wenger who gave him that massive contract. The fear being that he'd just walk out the door and make maybe 30, 40 million.
Well, it was the club that gave him the decision. It was down to the chief executive, Eamon.
Right. Sorry.
Ivan Gazidis, and that was a bad call, a very, very bad call. They should have just swallowed it and let him go for nothing, because he wasn't contributing, and you know. Arsenal is not a club now where can let players run out of contract. I mean, the top clubs just don't do it.
Yes.
If 2 years out, a player says to you, look, I don't really want to sign that contract, and you've given him a very good pay rise or whatever, then it's time for him to move him on, and that's, Levy in the past has been good at that.
Yes.
He hasn't been successful with Eric. I think he would have sold Eriksen to Man United in the summer, but Eriksen was holding out to go to Real Madrid, which didn't materialise. So both Spurs and Eriksen lost out there. So it does create a bad atmosphere around the club, and I've no doubt that's probably the major factor why Spurs have had such a poor start.
Yeah, John, Manchester City had what on paper looks like a routine win, 3-0 at home to Aston Villa. It actually 0-0 at half time. I thought Villa made a good fist of it. They didn't lie down. I thought they attacked City, and in particular I thought Jack Grealish played really well and has come on a ton. Every time I've seen him, and I've seen him 4 or 5 times this season, he seems to be a player who really is improving and much more involved in the game, not playing on the fringes of it, and driving the team. They've made him club captain as well.
Well, I think he's got a grip of himself, Eamon, from the time he was younger, but I think he was a wild lad and had the ability and wasn't showing it. And obviously he's matured now. I think the manager's been a big help for him.
Yes.
And he's grown up, as they say. So he has the ability, there's no doubt about that. But as far as the match was concerned, City got a good start in the second half and went out to totally outclass them. Missed some chances in the first half, City, because they were attacking, and Jesus missed a couple of chances. But once they got in front, then there was only one team in it. Then
Raheem Sterling scored the game breaker a minute after half time. Actually, he's a player, John, that you always liked. And he has been promising for so long. He now appears to have matured. He's taking chances that he would have missed before. He's a very dangerous player.
Yeah, I think he's grown up, Eamon. You know, I think when he left Liverpool to come to Manchester City, he was very young, wasn't he? He was only about 20, 20. A lot expected of him. And I think in the last 12 months particularly, I think he's only 24 now.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's at an age, I don't think he's an outgoing lad. I don't think he's a warrior in that sense. I think he needed to get that maturity, which I think he has now. But he's certainly doing it, Eamon. He has come on in leaps and bounds this year. Like even in the match when the first half when there was no score, he was getting back, he was winning tackles, then he scored the goals that were decisive in the game. So he's become a real player. I think he always had the ability. Now it was whether he could mature into being a top class, which I think he has. But City in the end won comfortably. Aston Villa were good. You know, they don't give anything away, Aston Villa, and as you say, when they had an opportunity to attack, they did so. I think the manager's done a big, really good job on them. But with City scoring immediately after half time,
that's a killer.
It's a killer, and they ran away with it from that particular time.
Liam, Raheem Sterling, your view of him now? I mean,
top class. You know, he's playing with great players as well, Eamon, which helps.
Yes.
He was good at Liverpool. As John said, he was still young, and a lot was expected of him. But if there's one player that I think Guardiola has really improved, it's him. You know, under Guardiola's coaching and tuition, Sterling's become a top class finisher. You know, he and a 1-on-1 on goal, you just know he's going to score. Whereas, you know, you go back to the World Cup with England, he struggled, didn't he? He really
to convert chances.
Yeah, and he to link up and things like that. But now watch him play for England, watch him play for Man City. You know, 18 months has made a huge difference.
Yeah, just one other point I want to touch on, guys. Manchester United, John, went to Norwich, won. They've taken an awful lot of stick, and Solskjaer's taken it. I mean, it's inevitable if Manchester United. They played Martial yesterday, back from injury, played him up front with Rashford playing off him. They linked up well together. They won 3-1 at Norwich. They missed 2 penalties as well. I don't think Martial is ever going to be a top player, despite the ability he's got. But that possibility of him and Rashford being a pair, people are talking about it.
Well, it's against Norwich, Eamon. You know, they got a good point the week before again, so it does lift them up there.
Liverpool,
I don't think they're as bad as the position in the table suggests.
Right.
You know, I think they will get a run. They won't be they won't be a contenders as we. No chance of that. But they'll be a lot better than they are.
Yeah.
Eamon, you know, but the thing is that good enough for Manchester United. That's the thing. You know, if it was Norwich that was doing it, you'd say that's absolutely brilliant. But for Manchester United, where people expect them, the supporters, everybody expects them to be challenging for at least a top 4 position. Can they make that? You know, that's even doubtful at the moment. So I think they will win matches like they've won, and they'll go on the run. And they're not going to finish 3rd and 4th from the bottom of the table. There's no chance of that.
Marcus Rashford, he had a really bad time at the start of the season. He looked very low on confidence. He was missing chances, almost as if he didn't want the ball. He went away with England. He scored a goal against Bulgaria. It wasn't a great goal, but it was a goal. And he came back, played really, really well, I thought, against Liverpool, and he was superb yesterday. Confidence, he doesn't look the most confident lad, assertive type of lad, but he is a wonderful player, potentially.
Well, he's got
he's got his confidence back now.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see if he's got his confidence back. I think it's only a couple of matches. Hopefully he will. I mean, I think he's a young fella. He's got terrific ability. And he's a bit like Sterling when Sterling is that age. He has the ability. Has he got, like, what he needs really, I mean, is a top-class forward to be playing off.
Yes.
Really, to take that responsibility away from him at this particular age and let him grow into it, which I think he will. He has the ability to do it. Now, does he have the mental attitude to do it?
Yeah.
You know, whereas he's only 21 even now.
He's a young lad, And
there's a lot of responsibility on his shoulders to be the main man to get goals for Manchester United. Whereas if he had a striker up alongside him that was a real top-notch guy, then he could play off him and do the things that Manchester United have done in the past. So I think he will come good, but he could still do with that bit of help. A lot of help in the position that he's playing.
Liam, there's a lot of talk about Manchester United a Manchester United player and what it means. I think we all understand what it means as being a top player. Rashford strikes me as someone who has the ability and the desire to be a top player. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think he's a good lad. I think he works hard for the team when he's on the pitch, chases back. He's got loads of ability, and he can take a chance. Although he can also miss them as well, and that's probably down to a bit of confidence. He's a young lad, but I agree 100% with John that he needs a really top striker with him. Yes. I think Martial even showed yesterday against Norwich that they linked up well together because he had somebody he could play with and play off.
Yes.
And now I don't think Martial is the answer for Manchester United.
No, I don't.
They've done well for the game yesterday, but they're on 13 points, which is 15 points behind Liverpool after 10 games. And this is not what Manchester United's all about. And if they are going to be pushing for league titles and Champions Leagues, is what the club's all about. They need a top-class centre-forward with Rashford. I don't think Martial going forward is going to propel Manchester United to win the league or the Champions League.
No. A final question, Liam, and I'm going to ask John as well. Will my club Liverpool win the league?
I think they will. I think they will. I think that's what they want most of all. I think after missing out last season by a whisker, has given them the mentality and the drive to go and win it again this year, or not again, but to go and win this year. Manchester City, I think they have a bit of complacency in them, and I think they will drop more points than Liverpool. They're 6 behind, and I think that 6 is going to be a very, very important lead going forward. And with Manchester City, with that frailty of complacency, I think Liverpool will win the league this year. Yeah,
and John, just to remind everyone, listeners and you guys in particular, in 2 weeks' time, Liverpool play City. With their dodgy defence in particular, I think City are vulnerable. Do you think Liverpool win the league, John?
I do. I think they're favourites to win it now, Eamon. I think the game over the weekend was very, very important for the result and the manner in which they played.
Yeah.
There was a lot of maturity about them, Eamon, going a goal down early on. Actually, they played like Manchester United did under Ferguson when we had Fergie time.
Yes.
In other words, don't panic, keep doing the right things. And it's a very, very difficult thing to do when you're in the position that Liverpool are in and the position that Manchester United were in. So that's a sign of maturity from the manager to the players. They actually carried it out. They didn't panic in any way, which takes a lot of doing. I mean, it looks easy when you're doing it, but to do it, it takes the experience that they've had and the managers had to do what they did, which was very, very good.
Yeah, and Gazzaniga, the Spurs goalkeeper, was heroic in the first. He made a number of outstanding saves. Just Trent Alexander-Arnold was superb yesterday, John. We know about his little he's a weakness as a fullback, letting people creep in behind him, getting out of position. But going forward yesterday, the delivery of stuff into the box was amazing. The other player that stood out yesterday was Fabinho. Really rock solid in midfield, but also his distribution of the ball was very good. Set up the winning goal, actually.
Well, he was well on the fullback. Eamon, I think he is terrific going forward, and it suits him when they are going forward. His distribution is as good as a midfield player's. He has the vision and he has the ability to do it. I'd like to see him, if I was a Liverpool supporter, tighten up defensively, because you're not going to be attacking all the time, and it's very hugely important to be able to defend as well when you have to do it. And he was caught out of position even yesterday a couple of times. But Fabinho was very, very good yesterday in that it suited him because the hardest thing in football as a midfield player is to get turned round when you receive the ball. With Liverpool being on top for most of the game yesterday, any time the ball came to him, he was facing where he wanted to be, and then he can pick out that. So obviously, you've got to get into the position first to pick out the pass, and it's the most difficult thing sometimes is getting into position to be able to deliver the pass. And I think that came easy for him yesterday. I think he has improved. I think he is an asset to Liverpool. But what I was impressed more with Liverpool yesterday was their attitude when they go a goal down early on, and the goalkeeper was playing well to keep doing the right things, which in the end, I think it showed a great deal of maturity for the Liverpool team, which will help them to be certainly favourites to go on and win the Premiership.
Okay, John and Liam, thank you very much indeed.